Welcome to the Custom Fantasy News Network. My name is Brian Cork in the palatial studios of Custom Fantasy News. So this was week 12 in the Midwest Fantasy Football League. Well, the Grumpy Munchkins once owned the Black Division, but not anymore. They had a big game this week. They had to play their Uncle Rick. Not only in fantasy football, they also had to play him in bowling. They had to bowl against him. And unfortunately, they bowled first, and they got crushed, spanked, beaten to a pulp. So, when they got to the game on Sunday, they were bound determined to win. They wanted to set up a little side bet for their Uncle Rick, but it really didn't work out the way they wanted it to. They got spanked again, twice, in the same week by their uncle. So now, the division has closed up. The Grumpy Munchkins are still in first, but Jugular and the Dragons are right behind them at 7 and 5, so they're only a game behind. Next week, the division winner will be decided. Now, the Grizzlies locked up the Blue Division. They're a game ahead of the Diamond Dogs with one game to go, but they have a big advantage in the division record. So they've locked up first place in the division. The Diamond Dogs are in, and Bootylicious is battling it out with the Outlaws for the final playoff spot in the Blue Division. Now, the powered team of the week was the Dragons with 144. The pansy team of the week was the Outlaws with a measly 59. Yikes. And now you'd think this would be the lowest number of the year, but the Dragons put up a couple 53s earlier this season. So, this week the Dragons put up 144, but that's more points than they scored 2 weeks combined earlier this season when they put up 53s. Talk about civil. Fantasy stud of the week was Breeze with 36 for the Midnight Riders. Wow. I think he threw, what did he throw? 4 touchdowns. Yeeks. Fantasy dud of the week was McNabb with a whopping -3 for the Munchkins. So he really put in a big help for the Munchkins trying to fight their Uncle Rick. Week 12 game scores. Bootylicious over the Gridiron Guineas, 133 to 105. The Midnight Riders got past the Diamond Dogs, 125 to 115. The Grizzlies beat the Outlaws, 83 to 59. The Dragons put down Demolition, 144 to 131. And Jugular stomped the Grumpy Munchkins, 125 to 89. Now, definitely the trash talking game of the week was definitely the Jugular Munchkin game. But this one was going into Sunday night. Jugs had a 93-89 lead, and the Munchkins were done. Now, Rick still had Pierre Thomas and Harrison to go, so he'd already won, and he still had 2 players to go. Rick got another big week out of Tyler Thigpen. Where in the world did he come from? He had 240 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 29 yards rushing. He scored 24 points. The final in this game was 125 to 89. I wish I would have picked up that Tyler Thigpen guy. The shootout of the week was definitely the Dragons Demolition game. Now, both teams started off the season really, really slow, but they have been coming on strong. Going into Sunday night, the Dragons had a huge lead, 134 to 77. The Dragons still had a die to go, while Demo still had Rogers, Grant, Colston, and Keating to go. So Demo came roaring back, scored a lot of points, but they couldn't get it done. And that's despite Rogers scoring 26. He had 248 yards passing with 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. And he even had 36 yards rushing, and a touchdown. Nice day for Rogers. But the triumvirate of Grant, Colston, and Keating only managed 28. Colston only had 10, which team scored 51, and Breeze threw 4 touchdowns. That kind of makes you go, Final was 144 to 131. Now, another game that had playoff implications was the Outlaws-Grizzlies matchup. Now, you wouldn't know they were playing for anything by the scoring, though. Going into Sunday night, they're both running in quicksand. The score was 61 to 49. Yeah, 61 to 49. Dennis had Jennings and Wayne to go. Well, Jeffy had Dallas Clark and Crosby to go. Now, it looked like Jeffy didn't have a chance. And guess what? That was true. The final was 83 to 59. As a side note, Jeffy made some big trades this week, and they worked out really well for him. All the players he received went in the tank, and all the players he gave away were monsters. The players he got scored 19 points. The players he got rid of scored 51. Excellent. Good job, Jeffy. Jeffy's really had a tough season. I feel bad for him. Not really, but I'm just going to say that. Bootylicious had to play the Gridiron Guineas this week in a game they had to win. Booty had their highest point total of the year last week in week 11, hopefully getting warmed up for the playoffs. This was almost over going into Sunday night. Booty was up 95-82. It still had LT, Lance Moore, and Driver to go, while the Guineas just had Philippa Rivers. Predictably, Booty won this running away, 133-105. Romo had his best game of the year for Booty, putting up 30 on 341 yards passing and 3 TDs. Now the Diamond Dogs were making a run at first place in the Blue Division. Now the Midnight Riders, they're playing the Midnight Riders, and the Midnight Riders had lost 6 in a row. So this looked like an easy game for the Dogs, right? But apparently no one told the Riders that. It was going into Sunday night. It was the Dogs up 92-73, while the Dogs had Peyton Manning and Gates to go, versus the Riders, Breeze and Anthony Gonzalez. So you still think the Dogs have a big advantage. They're going to do okay. So after Sunday, it's 116-89 going into Monday, and the Riders still had Breeze to go. So, but Breeze had to make up 27-point deficit. But he made it look easy, scoring 36 on 323 yards passing and 4 TDs. So the final was 125-116. So week 13 is the final week of the regular season. All the playoff teams have been decided but one. Either the Bootylicious or Outlaws will take the third playoff spot in the Blue Division. Booties take on first place Grizzlies. Now Booty controls their destiny. With a win, they're in. With a loss, they need the Outlaws to lose, and then they still get in. Now the Outlaws play Jugular, and of course they've got to win to have a chance. Now Jugular, the Dragons, and the Grumpy Munchkins are all battling for first in the Black Division. Now only the Munchkins control their destiny. They face Demolition. If the Munchkins win, they take first. If they lose, they need some help. The Jugs needs a win, and for both the Munchkins and the Dragons to lose. The Dragons take on the Riders, and they need a win combined with the Munchkins' loss to take first. So, a lot will be decided in Week 13. So, thanks for tuning in. We will see you next week. Good night.